Welcome back to Context. We are joined today by long-time friend and mentor, Aaron O'Brien, head basketball coach at Mount Eden High School. Coach, thanks for joining us today. Excited to have you here.
Oh, Justin, it's great to see you and see you doing so well, and really proud of the work you're doing. And, as you like to say, we're just trying to string together some COVID wins during this difficult time.
Absolutely. So, Coach, if you could take us through your background as a coach, how did you get started in this profession? What was the process of you landing your first head job? Any subsequent jobs that you have fallen into since then?
Yeah, great question. The whole basketball world, probably like most people who were involved in basketball, I fell in love with the game at a young age of 6, and loved to play. Played through high school, played some junior college basketball. Uh, Actually went to Davis and wanted to play on the team at Davis, but the coach at the time, it was hilarious. Coach Hamilton, he would not take anybody under 6 foot, and I'm like 5'9" on a really, really good day. So he wouldn't even let me try out for the team. And I'm like, Coach, we played your JV team. I recognize some of these guys, and we beat them by 40. Just go ahead and let me try out. I mean, and if you cut me, it's no problem. Just give me a shot. But anyway, he was like, no, we can't have you try out. Go play down on the rec hall. So that was the end of that. And then I just started, playing a lot of AAU basketball with some older guys. And about this time, I knew I wanted to coach. And really, I didn't want to do much else other than coach. But as you well know, it's funny about that because everybody thinks that you're making all kinds of money if you're a coach. But yeah, if you're Roy Williams or Coach K or these other big time coaches, yeah, you are making a lot of money. But if you're just a standard assistant coach, you're going to have a hard time paying rent, especially in Davis or in the Bay Area where it costs a lot of money to live. So I kind of realized that the basketball was great, but that I was going to have to get an education, and that I was going to have to find another way to earn some money. But I was fortunate in the sense that I was able to get myself over to Australia for a season where I played. They gave me a little bit of money and I played over there. And then I signed a couple of contracts over in Denmark and played out there for a couple of years. Played for the teams and then coached a bunch of teams. And that's where I got the introduction to coaching, which, and I think that really helped a lot because I had 4 teams and then I was playing on a 5th team. So, I was running it was crazy. We'd get to the gym at noon and we'd leave around midnight. So we were spending a lot of time in the gym. We were able to run the practices. We were getting a lot of game type experience. And then so I met a former guy who worked at Davis, Peter Diepenbrock, and got to know him. And he was, he's a great player over there. He's kind of a legend over there. He coached the national team that was trying to make the Olympics. And anyway, I got to know him. He came back over here to start a career here, and he was at Davis. And I was just working on my master's degree in Sacramento. And so I kind of got to know the guys at Davis. And then the next thing you know, Peter took a job coaching down in the Bay Area, and I assumed his position at Davis. So that's kind of how I got into it. I was fortunate enough to work for Coach Williams. He's just a great coach and a great mentor. And not only, really good with the basketball, but really good with the whole organization thing, fundraising, skill development, recruiting, all of that stuff. So that was a really good couple of years. And I got to meet you and a lot of other guys. John Wheeler, a great guy, and Mark Decker. So that was a good time. And then it's kind of funny. Getting back to the economic side, I was the second assistant at Davis, and I was making $404 a month. So of course I was having to do other things to supplement my income. And then I got my big break. I got hired at Holy Names College to be their head coach. And they paid me $404 a month, but they threw in a dorm room. So,
Well,
so
don't
yeah,
feel too bad, because years after you left, when I was sitting in that chair, I was making $6,000 a year.
yeah,
And, hey, go make more running the summer camps. So
exactly, exactly. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. But people, like when I got that job at Holy Names, I had people saying, "Oh, you must be rich. Want to borrow some money?" I'm like, "Hey, I'm not making any money. I can barely, at the end of the month, I'm, going down to Taco Bell twice a day,
oh,
and buying the 39-cent tacos." So anyway, that was an interesting experience. We actually had a really good year there at Holy Names, but they were their administration was just really shady, and I really didn't feel comfortable bringing players there because it was a ton of money, and I didn't feel we were supported at all. So I actually, and this was kind of funny, I actually hooked up with at the time it was a CBA team, Continental Basketball Association, which is similar, which is like today's D League,
mhm.
and I was out there for a couple of years. Um, and that was a real eye opener because, as a young man, you think that you're a pretty good player, and you were a good player. I was a good player. We were all good players, but these guys at the pros, it's a whole different deal.
Mhm.
They're like 8 inches taller than you and quicker than you and stronger than you.
Mhm.
And it was pretty amazing coaching out there. So I was out there for a few years, and then I had actually a really good deal out there. I was getting paid. It was 500 a week, and then we got a per diem when we went on the road, and I had my own hotel room and everything. And I didn't mind that situation, except I realized then that I was never going to be a head NBA coach because I didn't play in the NBA. I
Mhm.
mean, like the ceiling for a guy like me was, maybe second assistant.
Mhm.
So I kind of like soured on that and kind of realized what the real deal was. And then our team got sold to an owner who actually wanted to make money. So he was cutting everybody's salary. I was going to have to share a room and all that. It's just, when I was living in the Quad Cities
Mhm.
out there in Rock Island and Davenport. Anyway, I was getting tired of it.
Mhm.
Um, and that's when I got the job at San Leandro High School. So I got the job at San Leandro High School, and they had not won a game in like a year and a half. And my first year there, we had 5 players on varsity, 5 on JV, 5 on the freshman team. Yeah, but they were great kids. They just we had great players there, but they were all going to other schools.
Hmm.
You know that deal. I mean, it's the Bay Area.
Mhm.
Guys, guys are going wherever. So anyway, we rebuilt that there. We had Chris Rivers was with us that first year.
Mhm.
We had Donald Williams, who's coached forever. He did a great job, and we were able to really build that thing up. But for me personally, and we were talking a little bit before the show, I was able to pick up a teaching job,
Mhm.
and that was like darn near 24 years ago. Um, and really, so the teaching job allowed me to coach,
Mhm.
and the that that was really good. That was kind of, for me, that was a blessing for my family,
Mhm.
um, for my daughter, and it really allowed me to have a life because, as you well know, when you're in the basketball and when you're working for a big time coach like Bob Williams,
Mhm.
second to none, you're spending all your time in basketball,
Mhm.
and you're not really thinking about your future.
Mhm.
And then I got that gig at Holy Names. It was the same thing, 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But I just felt blessed to get into this teaching profession. And then when I got into it, I found out that, hey, this is pretty cool. I like the kids,
Mhm.
um, and and that's what I've been doing ever since. The basketball is still great. Still work real hard at it. We had 5 good years at San Leandro. Then I went and assisted in Ohlone College for a few years. John Peterson, Hall of Fame coach, another great coach.
Mhm.
Um, and then and then I took a few years off, and then this situation up at Mount Eden, and I was able to get that job. And Mount Eden had a legendary coach for years, and he was a great coach, a
Mhm.
guy named Ron Benavides. And things are just so weird and so political that some stuff went sideways on them,
Mhm.
and and they and anyway they went with another coach, and that was crazy.
Mhm.
but they had not been good for like 9 years.
Mhm.
So we had to rebuild it there too. And we've done pretty well there. Yeah, it's been a great job. The kids are great. We play in the same league as O'Dowd, so that's kind of, those are some hard games, but that's okay. We don't mind.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah,
so lots of different stops on the journey,
hmm,
and
absolutely.
obviously different levels of basketball, right? You did some professional stuff, some college stuff, high school, but I'm curious at each of those, and it might be a little bit tough to remember, but what did you realize moving over X number of inches into the head chair or coming in from the outside that you didn't know and that you had to figure out really quickly, right? Because we think we're
Well,
prepared, right? We both got to work for Bob, and
yeah, exactly.
you're going to be as prepared as anyone else, but then all
Yeah.
of a sudden it's like, I don't know anything. What did you realize that you didn't know?
Well, yeah, when I started running practice and I was trying to run box,
Mhm.
and like the first time I kept screwing it up. So I had to go back and relearn it, and it's kind of funny because Bob is just, he controls everything, and he should, and he's great. But you as a coach are like, oh, why don't you let me do this? I can do it. But he was right. We didn't really know. And then you move over the 12 inches and it's like, God, I had no idea. And you kind of learn a respect for your former boss. But you also, what's the old saying? You have to like learn it twice if you want to teach it.
Mhm.
So you really know it after you teach it. But yeah, I found out running practice and stuff, just all of the technical stuff that he was just so good at,
Mhm.
and I just had no idea.
What about other things that are pertinent to running a program, right? Let's take the
Sure.
basketball out of it for a second. Let's think about dropping into holy names. I think I remember you were like 28, 29 at the time, and it was
Yeah, 29.
you were so young and thrust
Yeah.
into this situation. And basketball aside, what are the other things that come to front of mind so that if you were to take another job for whatever reason, you leave Mount Eden, what would be top of the list of things you want to make sure you tackle right away?
Well, I think, and Bob always talked about this, and we never really understood it, but you've got to be able to get along with the people in the administration
Mhm.
and the people in the college, and you guys have to have a unified goal.
Mhm.
And for me, I just had a problem with the people with holy names because I felt they wanted us to bring in players to make them money.
Mhm.
I didn't feel that they were supporting the players, and how I felt at the time has been proven over 25 years.
Mhm.
I feel good about taking that job and the job we did there, but I've never regretted leaving there because I don't feel that the administration supported the players. So I think before you take a job, so like when you're 29, you want any head job. I mean, that's just how it is, and it's so competitive.
Mhm.
I mean, it could be the worst job in the world, and it's funny because the Niner job was open
Mhm.
a lot after they got rid of Harbaugh, and these guys on the talk shows, they're like, oh, well, why would anybody take the job? Well, you're going to have hundreds of applicants because there's 30 of them in the world.
Right.
So there aren't that many head college jobs. There aren't that many good head high school jobs
Mhm.
out there. But sometimes we're in such a rush that we go into a situation where the people that we're working for, our ideas and our goals are not the same, and that causes lots of problems.
Yeah, that's
So
something I've learned over the years is the importance of being a mission appropriate fit as a leader and as athletes and with your administration and even your role in the school, and that sometimes it takes a while to adjust your own thinking and approach to be in alignment with the administration if that's a place you want to be, right? Or if it's not a place where you're in alignment and you realize I'm not a mission appropriate fit, maybe we should just pass on that opportunity.
yeah,
Um, Again, you have a lot of experience. You've been in a lot of different places. What I'm really curious about is what have you taken with you from previous stops or that you've stolen from observing other coaches that's now a linchpin in your program? And is one of the things, or a couple of the things, that you have deemed so paramount that they create the largest ripple effect in your program and your culture, that you're going to do those regardless of wherever you land?
Well, yeah, yeah. Well said. Um, the bottom line is, and especially in today's world, people play the game now to try to get something out of it. They want, they want to get a college scholarship. They want to get a high school scholarship. They want to play in the NBA. And instead of playing the game for not only the love of the game, but play the game because you want to play it, but we should be coaching the game because we want to help prepare you for life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So letting a kid do things that he or she should not be doing and allowing that to happen because they can make a 3-pointer or block a shot, you're doing that kid an incredible disservice. And so answering your question is, I've always been strict on that stuff, but it's even more now. Act the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of your schooling.
Mm-hmm.
Be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Defend. And all of us coaches say, we got to defend. We're all going to defend. But a lot of us are guilty for letting the superstar not really defend.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing him or her a huge disservice
Mm-hmm.
by letting them get away with that stuff. So we try to hold people accountable
Mm-hmm.
all across the board. Of course, everyone's different. And do you treat everybody exactly the same? No, because we're human beings. But the baseline guidelines are the same.
Mm-hmm.
Be on time.
Right.
Okay. Treat people with respect. Mm-hmm. Respect your teachers. Respect your parents. Mm-hmm. So for me, having spent those couple of years in the CBA, I realized, and of course, we all know, we knew we weren't going to play in the NBA just because, we're not 6'8" and quick. We knew that. Okay. But when you see it day after day, year after year, it really sinks home. And we need to prepare these kids for our community, mm-hmm. for our society. And I got to tell you, that's been lost. Mm-hmm. Everybody points to AAU and AAU's a boogeyman, all this stuff, whatever, but it's been lost. These kids get away with murder. Mm-hmm. And when their eligibility is used up, they're in real trouble because they have this funny idea that they can get away with stuff and it's okay. And it's not. So in a lot of ways, I think we're really hurting the kids.
So how do you build into your program these accountability pieces and ways in which to teach these malleable human beings at this point in their life that the real lesson in athletics is how to be part of something bigger than yourself? What are specific things that you do as a coach that are transferable to maybe other programs that you have found a ton of success with? Meaning, like, what's the best thing you do in your program that's transferable? That they don't have to be Aaron O'Brien. It can be Justin Climo saying, hey, I saw Aaron do this, and this is really important, and I'm going to use this in my own way.
So if you're if you're teaching offense and the guy who sets the screen, right, he's setting the screen and he's opening that guy up, he needs to be appreciated. You need to let him know, hey, good screen. And then as a coach, you need to emphasize, hey, that's a great screen. Mm-hmm. Or if I throw you the ball and you hit a 3, and I remember you used to hit quite a few 3s in a noon ball, you need to let me know, hey, good pass. Because if I don't throw you the ball, you don't hit the 3. Mm-hmm. So the things is, they call them little things, but really they're winning things that as coaches, we emphasize. A lot of guys, like they'll give $1 or $2 when guys take charges, mm-hmm. But that's kind of a grunt play. That's an important play.
It sounds like what you've done is made it a point to systematically emphasize the things that don't show up in the box score.
Absolutely. And the thing is, as a coach, I really believe that the team who plays the hardest and believes in it the most is going to win. Yeah. Especially at the high school and even at if you're close in talent, even at the college level.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. And to your point, one of the best things that we do that I stole from Brandon Laird was keeping we call it the Medal of Honor chart, and it's all the hustle plays, and there's point values attached that becomes our ranking system that gets published after every game. Aside from what the general public wants to see statistically, we emphasize, hey, you're trying to win this game. You're trying to win the plus minus game. Those are the things that we publish and that we keep track of. And then to your point, emphasizing, taking charges, we have a charge belt like WWF, and the guy who gets that and wear it, and they maintain it until somebody takes it away from them. So things like that, I think, are great, and ways to, make them tangible so that you can walk away with that have been really helpful. So thanks for sharing that.
Like another thing is like what we have is we call them kills. And that's when you get 3 straight stops on defense. Mm-hmm. That's a kill. So, hey, we got 2 kills and we lost by 15. We got 9 kills and, we beat a really good team by 5. Yep. Well, yep. What happened? What didn't happen? Yep. So I think, yeah, you have to emphasize it every single day. And you can't let stuff slide. The guys need to know they're going to be held accountable. And the thing I found through all the years is guys really want to be coached. Mm-hmm. They really do want to be coached because they're smart and they realize, hey, if I'm being coached and I have somebody who knows what the hell they're doing, they're going to have a better chance of winning, and they're going to have a better chance of realizing their dreams.
Yeah. 100%. What have you learned watching other teams that may or may not be basketball teams? I don't know how often you get a chance to watch other sports coach and play, but I get to sit here every day and watch water polo practice, and I steal a lot from them and how I approach the game of basketball. But I'm curious, over your time, things that you've learned and tried to apply successfully or not.
Well, I think first off, you can't try to do too many things. So you've got to stick to whatever your principles are, and you just really have to work on those. But getting to your point, getting to your question, I would say defensively, I picked up the most, and then transition as well. And then when you watch football, it's always about the offensive line and the defensive line, whoever can control the line of scrimmage. And then we put those into basketball terms.
So give me an example of that.
Well, defending is everything, right? And we know it. So if we can get 6 kills or more, that's kind of our goal. I mean, that's 18 stops. In a high, what is there, 80 possessions in a high school basketball game? That, and then just basic fundamentals in the terms of blocking out, right? Blocking out, similar to blocking in football. Early help, very important. Contesting threes, very important.
So basically, what your takeaway from watching football is, look, the building blocks and the things that are not celebrated are actually the most important aspects to winning games. How can we harness that and put into emphasis for our teams? Look, these are more important than whatever shot we hit.
Absolutely. And then the other thing, think about this, and you do this with your teams. Everybody wants to shoot the 3. Okay, well, all right. Have a defender out there, a good defender. They can get 3s off against anybody. Have them try to get to the hoop against a good defender. It's not going to happen. It's harder to get good shots. Anybody can come down and jack up a bunch of 3s. I hate that. I mean, unless the guy's really a good 3-point shooter and it's in transition, okay, that's fine. Other than that, we're taking inside-out 3s because the ball has to go into the post. It just has to, for spacing, and it's an easier shot. for you
Hmm.
for the
Got it.
inside out.
So let's talk about that then. How
Yeah.
has your coaching approach changed during your career?
It's funny. I think I just have become more structured, um, and um, paying more attention to defense just over the years, because I just think defense really wins games. Shot selection, really important, and then execution.
Mm,
Yeah, in this day and age, it's all about, oh yeah, we got to have players, this and that. Yeah, not really, not if you're not doing anything with them. I
mhm,
think the execution is very important. And then I think really the most important thing is is do they want to be there?
mhm,
Are they enjoying what they're doing?
mhm,
So I think if you can get the team really together, the team to take pride in everything, and especially execution,
mhm,
especially defense, especially the second unit pushing the first unit in practice, and the guys really feel like they're a unit and they're really a group. um, I think you're going to be a lot better at the end of the year, and that's when we all want to be playing our best.
mhm, mhm. It's funny that you say you've become, I don't think disciplined is the right word that you used, but it speaks to,
Structured.
yeah,
Yeah.
executing
Yeah.
plays, let's say, when it's on game is on the line. And it's funny because I still remember probably 15 years ago I reached out to you to get something to do against the zone, and you sent me a couple of sets, and at the bottom you wrote, teach your kids to be players, not to run plays. And that has always been something that
Yeah.
has stuck with me from a coaching standpoint. And that's been my evolution from being super regimented to, I'm going to focus on teaching these kids to play, and I'm going to live with what we get sometimes. And it's just interesting the different paths that everyone takes given circumstance, situation, athletes that you may or may not have, and how you have to manipulate that to try to be competitive.
Well, that and still, I mean, yeah, players win games, not plays, but plays can get them in a better position.
Yeah.
And that's and really, I watch a lot of basketball, and I don't know what's going on, but boy, I mean, guys can't even attack the zone. I mean, you remember working for Bob, hit the gap,
Mm-hmm.
ball fake, reverse the ball, play through the middle of the floor. I mean, you just don't see that a lot right now, and it's kind of strange.
Mm-hmm.
And then guys on on the reverse of that, guys who are playing zone defense, you have to have slides, and you can't have one guy guarding two guys.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can't have two guys guarding one guy, and you see that all the time. So it's like the offense isn't being taught, nor is the correct slides on the defense. So I just find that very strange.
All right. So let me ask you this then. What would you say you have most recently changed your mind on from a coaching standpoint? If you think about, I was really dug in over here, and actually I got a situation where it made me change my perspective, and now here's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and the answer is kind of it's a funny answer, because when I first started out, we practiced every day, twice a day. We'd have shoot arounds and go hard during shoot arounds. I mean, I know that I was like, I burned those guys out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we just went too hard
Mm-hmm.
when, we used it all up in practice. So now I think as an older coach, I mean, we still go hard. We still go, we still have shoot around, but they're not sprint throughs. They're walk throughs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think really concentrating on the game and trying to have the kids ready to play
Mm-hmm.
on game night is really important. And then the other thing with huddle is we used to always, those of us who took it seriously, right? We would always go watch. You went and watched hundreds of games. We'd write all that stuff down. Okay. Now you have huddle.
Mm-hmm.
You can be like in the comfort of your home, with your wife and your kids, and you can be breaking stuff down. So I think you can really take away what the other team likes to do if they're a pattern type offense. Also, like, do they press?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a half court trap? Do they, whatever it is that they like to do, you can prepare for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the preparation is more important than ever because you can really get a handle on it. When you're driving 2 hours up to Chico State to watch them play in a game and you're only going to watch them once, yeah, you can write all that stuff down, but you're not really watching the game because you're just writing down all this stuff.
Right.
Then you don't even know what half of it is, opposed to actually being able to watch it, stop it, rewind it. Mm-hmm. So I think having not burning your guys out and then really preparing them. I think those are the two things that have really changed with this deal.
Okay. This is something new I've been dabbling with, so I'll be curious to get your take on this. And I stole this from Tim Ferriss, who is a guy I read and listen to his podcast regularly, but he always asks his guests if they have a favorite failure that has since propelled them onto their success based on what they were able to learn by not finding success early.
Oh, that's a good one. A favorite, I mean, because no one likes to fail, but I understand the point is you fail and then you fix it. Why did you fail? Well, it's funny. That is such a great question, and I'm gonna give you a really good answer and a really truthful answer.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Well, so I always had a problem with authority. Okay, that's just me. And so I didn't get fired or anything, but I was always having like problems with this coach or that coach or that AD and all this stuff. And I'd had these problems, and I was about 30 years old. And a really good friend of mine, we were going over stuff, and he goes, if it happens once, that's one thing, but have you ever thought about the fact that this like seems to be a pattern, that like maybe you have a problem with authority? And I started thinking, and he was right. He was, and thank God he told me about it, because it's real easy to be a friend and say, hey, that a boy, you're doing great. That guy's messed up. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It's another thing to come over the top and say, you know what? I think you were wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be my answer.
Love it. Love it. Well, let's build on that.
Okay.
To go back in time then, if you had an opportunity to advise young Coach O'Brien, and I don't think any of us would do anything differently per se, because it builds us into who we are, but I'd be curious what advice you would give your younger self to help you pass the test, right? Here's the keys. Go do this.
Yeah. I mean, once again, that great question, because it depends, because it's like, if I wanted to make money, right? If making money and being financially secure, then I would say, hey, stay at Davis, get your teaching credential at Davis, work for Bob, and then try to get a head job by the time you're like 25, and just coach high school, teach, save money, okay, and then maybe get into college after you know a little something, instead of kind of the route we took. Not that we didn't know anything. I mean, we knew stuff, but we didn't know as much as those veteran guys who'd been on the bench. Right. So we went college, okay, pro, and then boom, down to high school. So I would say if you reverse it, you'd have a better chance of making more money, being more stable, and then maybe you can get there when you're a little bit older. Another thing is that situation at Holy Names, that was really a weird situation. And I was really, after working at Davis for Bob, and he was nails and everything was the way it should be. And I expected it to be that way at Holy Names. And it was completely different. And it kind of freaked me out. So like in retrospect, I probably would have been better off to maybe weather the storm. And hell, we did a great job there. I mean, they loved having us there. And, maybe I should have just started teaching at St. Elizabeth to augment the money and build something at Holy Names, and not be so quick to give up on them and take off.
Nice. I like that. It's really good advice for younger selves.
But like you said, I mean, hey, it was how I was feeling at the time. And I mean, being in the CBA was such a great experience because, I saw firsthand that it's a small club. Okay. It isn't really what you know, it's who you know. And I mean, to play at this level, I'm sorry, it's genetic. Yeah, these guys work on their game, and yeah, they work on their game, but they're 6'9" and quick.
Mhm.
So it's like,
Well,
yeah, that's why they're there.
I've said this often. Sometimes our best decisions are made by other people, and we're put in situations where we can really learn if we embrace it. And it sounds like your journey has set you up for where you are today, even the uncomfortable moments. So thank you for sharing that with us. And thanks for being here today. Really enjoyed getting your thoughts recorded so we can pass them along and help out our fellow colleagues.
Absolutely. No, it was a lot of fun. And I love what you're doing, and just, keep it up. There's just so much information out there, and a lot of it isn't good. That it's something like this is really good, really productive. Um, and the big thing is we're trying to prepare our kids for the future. Okay, the future isn't playing in the NBA. It isn't playing the NFL. The future is having a job, having a wife, having kids, making a mortgage payment, voting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, adding something to the community. That's what it's about. It's not about, hitting a turnaround jumper and winning a basketball game.
Right. And I think that's probably the best takeaway from this whole episode is what is our focus as coaches in preparing our student athletes for the remainder of their lives and setting up when we have a captive audience and we spend more time with these kids than anyone else in their lives, usually during this 14 to 18-year-old period. How are we maximizing that value add for them? Not necessarily for us, but for them. How do we keep them at the center of the equation? So thanks for being here, Coach. Looking forward to catching up on the other side of lockdown.
All right.